All right, well, what's happening, everybody? It is me, it is Jersey Cat, and we are back. But first, before I go into this video any further, I just want to apologize for not having uploaded a lot of videos lately. I've been fishing a lot. I just haven't, either A, I haven't been recording while I'm fishing, or B, I haven't sat down and edited the footage that I got. The reason being is because I've been fishing a lot of fishing tournaments with a friend of mine, and it was never meant to be. We fished one tournament together just because he didn't have anybody to fish with him, and we won it. And then we fished another one, and we won it. And then we fished another one, and we won it. So we won like 50% of the tournaments that him and I have entered over the last 2 months, and it kind of became a thing where it just snowballed into him and I becoming a team. No issues with him whatsoever, but I never really wanted to pursue tournament fishing. I want to do the YouTube thing. I like making the videos. I enjoy this a lot, and I've been focusing so much on the tournaments. It's been taking away from my night fishing and my other endeavors and road trips and whatnot. So I think I'm gonna scale back on the tournaments and ramp up with the videos and the fishing trips like I like to do. So again, I apologize. Stay tuned though. We will be getting back on path. Got a new sonar unit for the boat, so there's going to be a whole lot of fish in there. Look at that bad boy right there. That's a Solix, baby. And we got the Lake Master Premier Lake Master Premier charts, which I must say I've been messing with a little bit, and I don't know half the stuff it does yet, but what I have messed with and figured out, wow, what an amazing chart. I like the satellite overlays and everything. It's pretty cool, man. I can't wait to really start messing with these two and trying to get them networked with my other sonar unit on the front of the boat. And they also have the one boat network now with where you can, your phone is intertwined in it. And I mean, it's technology that's way above my head, but as long as I know how to read my sonar, I'll be all right. I'll learn I'll learn the other stuff as we go. But all right, down to this video here. This was a road trip video up to a lake in North Georgia. I recently bought some new microphones, and I haven't dialed them in yet. I just took them out of the box, turned them on, plugged it up, and for whatever reason, the mic synced with my receiver for about 20 minutes, and then the rest of the night I had no audio. So we're going to do a play-by-play on this video where I'm going to try to tell you guys what I was doing and what I was thinking at that moment. And, hopefully I can give you guys some insight into the way I look at things when I'm out there fishing by myself at night. And, maybe you can learn a few things from it. And so stick around. We're going to go over this video. We're going to do play-by-play. I'm going to lay some audio over it and try to, explain what I was looking at and what I was seeing and why I was fishing where I was fishing and the way I was fishing. So stay tuned. Stick around. You see, I just missed a fish, but tonight was a full moon, if I recall. And the problem with a full moon is when it's a full moon, the fish tend to be that you can still catch fish on dock lights on full moons. They tend to be a little bit more finicky. And the other issue is they tend to hug tighter to the light than they normally would on a really dark night. So the first cast was kind of so I hurried up, reeled it in, because I seen like several fish swimming through this light, and they were pretty good quality fish. So I hurried up and tried to get a more accurate cast in before the fish, became aware of my presence and spooked. So that's what you're looking at here. That's why I had to hurry up, reel in, and cast it back out. And again, I threw the fluke with a jig head. There was no action. I didn't bob it. I didn't wiggle it. I didn't do anything but reel slowly. And they jump right on it every time, just about. Yeah, and another thing I do that I don't know if I've mentioned this in other videos, and if I have, I need to reiterate it here. When I hook a fish under a light, I turn the boat and I get away from that light as quickly as I can. I try to haul butt away from the light to try to preserve the light and keep the fish that are still there from spooking. On this particular night, since it was a full moon, the fish were real skittish. The minute I hooked the fish, they split. So, but a lot of times, if you hook a fish, try to get away from the light as far as you can. Just fight that fish off into the distance, land them well away from the light, and then creep back up to the light and take another cast. There you go. That's a tip from me to you. All right, and here you go, about a 12 pounder, you know, give or take a couple pounds between, I don't know, probably about a 28-inch fish, you know, 10 to 12 pounds, decent fish. This lake that we were fishing is loaded with these size fish. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I come up there. In February, every fish is between 28 and 30 inches in this lake, and it's a lot of fun. And they're not as heavily pressured as the fish are on Lake Lanier, so they jump on the artificials a lot more readily, usually. It's one of the reasons why I like to fish this lake. The fish are a little bit more dumb, I guess you could say, but you know, it's not that they're stupid. They're less pressured, but there's not as many fish in the lake, and there's not as many places to fish. So if you have one or two other boats on this lake at night, you kind of really don't have a place to fish. I mean, God forbid you show up at this lake and there's 5 boats. You kind of may as well just turn around and go home. But it's not very big. Alright folks, and here we are. We split from the first light. The fish scattered and didn't come back in a timely manner, so we left and went to the second light. That's kind of key, is to not sit there and dilly-dally too long. When the fish split, don't waste time. They're not going to come back as long as you're still casting. So once you do about 10 casts and you don't get anything, it's time to head to the next spot. But here you can see we pulled up on this light, and I seen there were shadows down deep on the light, but they weren't up near the surface like they were at the first light. So you can see when I cast it out, I actually had a pause between my cast and my retrieve. I was actually letting the lure sink down deeper to get closer to those stripers that were down by the light towards the deeper water. The stripers on this particular night did not want to go far to grab a lure, so I had to kind of drop it right in front of their face to get bit, and that's what you seen with that pause there. I was actually counting it down in my head to let it get down about 5-10 feet before I started my retrieve. What I was doing when we pulled up at this light is checking my leader. I try to check my leader every time I pull up to a new spot, because you never know, especially when you're fishing around docks. There might be something under there. There might be a cable. There might be something that the striper run you into and you didn't realize that he was, you know, rubbing that leader up against something. So it's always good to check your, you know, your fluorocarbon leader when you pull up to a spot before you start casting. Now, some guys and friends of mine, some people don't fish with leaders, and they just run braid straight to the lure when they're fishing at night. Now, me personally, I will always have a fluorocarbon leader running to my lure, whether it's night, day, doesn't matter. The thing is, it's, you know, it's clear. You might catch some fish on braid straight to your lure when the fish are fired up 9 out of 10 times. You're probably going to do okay. But are you catching as many fish as you could have been catching had you had a clear leader going to your lure? You know, that's the kind of thing you got to ask yourself. And if it was me, I would want a nice clear fluorocarbon leader going to my lure when there's a 30-plus pound striper in the area. You know, that old fish, he's wary. He's not made many mistakes. He's avoided most anglers for all of his life. He's not stupid. So me personally, I would rather have the stealthiest approach possible to fool that big fish. So therefore, I'm always going to have a fluorocarbon leader tied up. I prefer the Alberto knot. Look it up. It's a really good knot. As of yet today, knock on wood, I have yet to break an Alberto knot. And I've broken the leader, I've broken the knot on my lure, but I have yet to break the knot at the, you know, where I tie up on the leader with the Alberto knot. So check it out. It's a good knot. The one thing I love about this particular lake, it's not a very big lake, and there's not a ton of stripers in it, but most of the stripers in this lake, the true strain stripers, are of good quality. They're between 26 and 32 inches usually, and they're pretty eager to bite. Now, the only problem is this lake's not very big, and it doesn't have a ton of dock lights to fish due to heavy drawdown in the wintertime. So if you go up there, and there's 3, 4, 5 other boats out there, you may as well go home. There's no place to fish. So it's a crapshoot taking that long drive up there, and You know, sometimes you get lucky and there's no one on the lake. And sometimes you get unlucky and there's, 5 or 6 other boats on the lake. So, it's kind of rolling the dice. But when there's nobody out there, it's a pleasure to fish this lake. Missed one. Probably a hybrid. One thing I've noticed about this lake is in the wintertime, this lake has a ton of hybrids in it, but in the middle of winter, January, February, the hybrids don't really show up in the shallows at night. I fished this lake probably a half a dozen times until I caught my first hybrid last winter. And when I did start catching hybrids, within 2 weeks, hybrids made up 90% of my catch. So I guess hybrids aren't as cold tolerant as the regular true strain stripers are. Pretty neat. I thought that the lake was pretty devoid of hybrids until late March when hybrids seemed to be all I was catching. But yeah, interesting little tidbit there. And here we are, another fish on a fluke with the jig head, no action. Cast it, reel it, do it. It works. Enough said. Alright, as you can see, this one's a little bit smaller, but still fun size, so, we're still rolling here. Adrenaline's still pumping. We ain't getting tired yet. Still warm. It was actually fairly cold this night. I think it was in the low 40s by this time, and I think within a couple hours it had gotten down into the 30s, but, as long as you catch a fish in the wintertime at night, you don't really get cold. It's when the fish stop biting is when you start getting cold. Alright, and for the first time this evening, we actually got another fish on the same light without having to leave and come back, almost immediately. So the fish on this particular light, for whatever reason, they stuck around. They weren't as finicky. They seemed to be a little bit more willing to jump on stuff. I kind of chalk it up to the moon wasn't able to penetrate this particular cove due to I wouldn't really call it a mountain, but I would call it a hill, and the hill was blocking the moon from shining on this particular little cove. And the fish seemed to be a little bit more eager to jump on stuff in this cove because it wasn't as bright. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just pulling straws here, but it sounds, sounds plausible, right? And again, don't ask me what I'm saying. I got no idea what I was saying here anymore. It's been a week, so I can't really tell you what kind of mumbo jumbo is coming out of my mouth here. As you can see, I've got my jacket on now. I'm a little colder. This is an Under Armour jacket that I'm wearing here. This Under Armour jacket is actually I like it because no wind penetrates it whatsoever. You know, I got my under layers and my thermals on. This jacket just keeps the wind from penetrating through, and that's what you need. Wearing Carhartts and jumpsuits and stuff like that, if you don't have that nice shell on the outside, you're gonna get cold fast. Don't show up to one of your buddies' fishing trips to go fishing at night wearing a Carhartt suit. You're not gonna make it very long. Take it from me. I can't tell you how many times I've met guys at the dock and I see them standing there wearing Carhartts, and I'm like, this is gonna be a short trip, and usually it is. That trip's done within an hour and a half, 2 hours. It gets cold out there at night, guys. It really does. Alright folks, this particular fish you can chalk up to the quality of the Humminbird side imaging unit. I pulled up to the first light. We actually circled back around to the first light we fished this night, and there were fish in the area. Now, there was 2 fish on the light, but they were kind of... I casted at them several times, and as soon as I started casting, those fish disappeared. But as I was cruising down the shoreline, I seen these 3 fish on my side imaging right up near the bank. So I reached over and I grabbed my Spro-Mix stick, which is actually a jerkbait. It was one of those things where I seen the fish on the side imaging, and I decided to cast out there, and boom, got him. You could chalk that one up to the current unit I have on my boat is a Helix 7 with the Mega side imaging, and now you're gonna see me lose this fish. This was actually the best fish of the night, actually. You know, it wasn't a giant, but it was, you know, probably about a 12-14 pound fish, a little bit bigger than the others. But I had this really bright idea. I wanted to film a TikTok live for whatever reason. I hate TikTok. TikTok stifles my viewership constantly. If you don't post constantly on TikTok and your videos don't get a lot of traction, TikTok will bury you under TikTok house. And don't know what came over me. I tried to get some clout, I guess. And alright folks, this is the last fish of the evening right here. We had actually pulled up in an area that had tons and tons of dock lights. There's actually a good stretch of dock lights in this area. And the fish were on the light pretty heavily, but the dock lights in this particular area were dock lights that were way up under the dock. So I couldn't cast at them. And with the fish being really tight to the lights this evening, I tried for a couple minutes on both docks and I couldn't get my lure close enough to where the fish were doing their I guess you could say their pattern, you know, where they were just going around in circles and the light picking off the bait fish. That circle that they were cruising in was very small, and I couldn't get my lure within range of them to actually notice it and go after it. So we had to leave that particular stretch of dock lights and go find this little one in the corner, and we also got the smallest fish of the night. And, you know, it was a decent fish, not a giant, but hey, you know, decent way to end the night. Unfortunately, at this point, that day I did take a nap. I was so bent to get up there as early as I could. I foregone my usual nap, and I just headed straight up there, and I think it was... By this time, it was around 2:30ish in the morning, and I was really starting to crash at this point. So this is why the night kind of ended after this. We might have been able to push it a little harder and get 1 or 2 more fish, but I didn't feel it was worth it, sacrificing the sleep and jeopardizing myself on the ride home when the sun came up. So we went back to the ramp, and we took a couple-hour nap, and then we hit the road. Other than that, folks, I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you liked it a lot, please hit the subscribe button. And stay tuned, because there will be more videos coming. And, yeah, check out our sponsor's website, CaptainMax.com. He's got tons of great tackle, planer boards, umbrella rigs, Mini-Max. If you're not sure what a Mini-Mac is, go check out Stealth Mini-Mac trolling. It's an amazing way to catch a lot of fish, and it seems to be working just about everywhere in the southeast right now. So go check out his website. He's got everything you need to get started striper fishing freshwater lakes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Alright, and you can also check us out on Instagram at Jersey Cats Fishing. You can check us out at TikTok. It's Jersey Cats Fishing as well, but don't expect to see a lot. I only throw videos up on there when I made videos for YouTube and other places. TikTok, whatever. But yeah, check me out on Facebook, Terry O'Shaughnessy, Jersey Cats, Terry Jersey Cat O'Shaughnessy. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on just about everything. Alright, y'all. I'll see you later. Take care.